Hi guys! Welcome to, what week are we on? Week 14. Almost done. Working on that research, really kind of going in depth with all the skills that we've learned this semester, with summarizing sources and integrating other sources into our own ideas, weaving in they say, I say templates in a way that helps our writing kind of flow, practicing transitional phrases and words listed and they say, I say. These are all things that we're working on with our research paper. The research essay is the opportunity for you to show me and to show the rest of the class and to show the whole world how awesome you are and how much you've grown and learned over this last 14 weeks. And really, it's an opportunity to continue to keep practicing the skills, right? Because guess what? You'll be practicing them as writers for the rest of your life, hopefully. Refining, and not just the way that you write, but the way that you think and the way that you enter into conversation with other people. Keeping that open mind, but also very aware and present of the voices in any given conversation and what they're saying. Some voices are louder than others, and they're easier to hear because they're louder than others. Or some are actually very pleasing to the ear, and they're also easier to hear the messages coming through. So, again, this week is just practicing those skills and going further into those techniques and moves offered, and they say, I say. The book, They Say, I Say. And so I'm going to go ahead and click as a review of what's happening for week 14 on Chapter 8 discussion. Chapter 8 is awesome. It is an entire chapter on connecting our ideas. The chapter is titled, As a Result, Connecting the Parts. It's really, really cool. You're going to read and annotate that chapter. I'm just going to grab what I have right now, which is the newer edition. Super exciting. You don't have this one yet because it came out recently and it's a little bit more expensive, so we didn't use it. But it's pretty much the same. Little minor tweaks here and there that an English instructor or writer would appreciate. And so we're just looking at connecting the parts. So I'm just going to show you. So we have transitional phrases, connecting the words. And whether you have your book or not is irrelevant because guess what? We have a link. So I'm just going to click on the link. A link to the book is in last week's chapter. And this is a link to the Prezi on this chapter. So again, you want to read the chapter. In this newer edition, it starts on page 101. But really, it's about connecting sentence ideas. Oftentimes, we have all these ideas, and we just get them out. And then later, it's our job, our task as a writer to go back in and then connect those ideas to give it that sense of flow. We all want flow. We want our writing to sound like the best song ever. And so the technique for doing that is transitional phrases and words. And really the point of this chapter is not only to connect your ideas and have that flow, but to integrate vocabulary, new vocabulary into your repertoire, into your brain, into your mind, into your way of thinking and seeing the world. Because once you kind of incorporate it into the way that you speak and the way that you write, then it kind of shifts the way that you see the world. You start to flow more. So there's a correlation there, which I think is really awesome. So the example that the book has is, we once had a student named Bill whose characteristic sentence pattern went something like this. So you can see if you're a Bill kind of student. Spot is a good dog. He has fleas. Right? We have these two ideas, Spot being a good dog and the fact that he has fleas in the next sentence. Connect your sentences. We urge in the margins of Bill's papers, what does Spot being good have to do with his fleas, right? Making the connection. So we not only make connections between sentences, but we make connections between paragraph ideas as you're flowing, transitional sentences to connect paragraph chunks and ideas. And we make connections between the entire piece, whether it's beginning to end. You know, you kind of, sometimes you will plant a seed in your introduction, you know, every time you write actually with your thesis, and then by the end it hopefully comes full circle and you reconnect with the ideas that you set in motion. That would be transition. It would be those connector pieces. So they're crucial for writing. So again, transitional phrases come between sentences, between paragraphs, and then between the essay as a whole, between the beginning and the ending of the essay. Remember that enzo that I mentioned before? That complete circle. So I want you to think of transitions as like that complete kind of coming full circle. And getting that flow. So this chapter has really, really great transitions for if you're adding something, you would say also, and, besides, furthermore, moreover, indeed, in fact. So I encourage you to play. Find some that you would never use, that just seem foreign to you, and play with them. That's how we integrate, that's how we That's how we integrate new vocabulary into our way of thinking, and it's language acquisition as well. It's incorporating ways of speaking that we wouldn't normally adopt, right? So we're entering into this academic mindset, keeping the integrity of how we would normally speak, but then adding more to it so we have more to choose from. So if you want to give examples, for example, specifically, to take a case in point, those are all fun little moves. So it's not just a word, right? It's a shift. It's a move that you're making to guide your reader. So I want you to see transitions as ways to kind of guide your reader through your thoughts, through your idea. And so that's what Chapter 8 is about. So your task for this discussion is to check out the Prezi. And again, the Prezi is just overviewing the chapter, going over it for you, 4 strategies, right? So take notes in your journal, look at ideas, things that speak to you are the things you're gonna want to write down. These are the kind of moves that I want to see you making. These are the moves that great writers make, that make their writing really fun to read and very enjoyable and easy to follow and easy to understand. And so again, going back to the discussion, after you read the Prezi, take notes in your journal, you're going to come to the discussion board and you're going to post a paragraph. Well, actually, first you're going to write a paragraph in your journal about the information that seems important from this chapter. What did you learn? What did you find inspiring? What are you taking with you? Remember, this is an important part in the process because you have all these great ideas and now you're kind of moving into this cognitive area with your writing about the strategies that you're going to take with you, even if it's just 1 or 2 or maybe even 3 strategies. Remember, you have this writer's toolbox, this toolkit, and you have these tools in your toolkit, and some of them are templates and some of them are transitional phrases and moves. So what are you taking with you? Your task is to practice the strategies offered in Chapter 8, transitions, pointing words, key terms, phrases, and then repeating with a difference. Here is your prompt for the paragraph. What improvements can be made in education, in college specifically? So I just noticed a typo, or a missing word, I should say, not actually a typo. What improvements can be made in education? I'll put within. So college specifically. And the question essentially is, how can we make college a better environment to learn in? And I'll add that. Oh, I forgot my N. Okay. So that's your question, and you're going to kind of just free write, one paragraph, write one paragraph. So again, you're just writing. You can take your time with it. Your task is also to respond to another classmate. Are they using those moves? Remember, you're writing about education and you're practicing those moves. So again, that is your first discussion. If I go back to the home page, I'm going to click on the second discussion. So this is They Say, I Say, Chapter 9. So Chapter 9 is ain't so, is not. So let me jump over there. Oop, this one is different. So this edition is actually different. So let's see. Let me click on the Prezi. So you're reading Chapter 9 of They Say, I Say, and then you're going to watch the presentation in the link on Chapter 9 and take notes in your journal. So what information seems important? So we'll go over it. See, these Prezis are really awesome because they're open. If you want to make one, you can go on here and borrow someone's template, and that's really fun. And then also, you know, it's a quick and easy way to relay information if you want to use something other than PowerPoint. It's much more spatial. So here we go. In writing, it's often assumed that using gargantuan colloquy or having manifold sentence bases that will make us sound smart, even if we have no idea what the words mean. So let's keep going. On the contrary, you should keep your writing nice, neat, fun, and formal. My good sir, have you seen my squeaky toy? So really what this chapter is getting at is the ways that we use language and how oftentimes we use language in ways that it's unnatural and uncomfortable, and it doesn't even get our message across because we're too busy trying to sound smart or trying to use certain words that we don't even know the definitions of. So this is the error of using the thesaurus to broaden your vocabulary. Words are alive. You can't just interchange words to try and sound smart because guess what? Each word is a heartbeat pulsating. Some are pulsating faster than others. Some are pulsating slower, and you need a certain heart pulse in that word in order for it to really make sense. So for example, instead of using gargantuan colloquy or having manifold sentence bases, one of the ways to say this sentence more clearly would be massive words or having complex sentences. That is just one of many combinations that could have been used to make that sentence flow easily. And so we have a video clip here.
I'm going to do a cheer that I wrote myself in honor of our beloved team, the Webster Wolves. Wolves are tough! Wolves are strong! Wolves are typically 60 inches long! Canis, lupus are called in Latin! A badger, spice, and fox a certain! Owlie consists of a fundamental frequency, which lies between 150 and 780. It consists of up to 12 harmonic-related overtones! Why are you blowing your whistle? Is someone lost? Olive, your cheer was very educational. I learned that I hate you. Next!
And so we have a really great example of how you can take language and use it in the wrong way, in the wrong context, and it just doesn't work. No matter how much you want it to work, it's not going to work. So it says, using too many large words can often lose people's attention and make them bored. This actually says loose. It should be lose, L-O-S-E, common error. Some examples to avoid, and it kind of goes over examples here. So again, you can finish the Prezi and then kind of understand that mixing styles can be as simple as adding some of the terms used every day into writing. It shouldn't be a challenge to think of what to say. So one piece of advice that I gave a student today that I am constantly reminding writers of, and this is really, really common, so I just want to bring it up again, is that your writing isn't that different from how you speak. If you're using slang and you're using profanity and you're using jokes, you don't necessarily have to take those things out of academic writing. You have to do them very thoughtfully and probably very sparingly and very smoothly if you want it to work. So you're not going to set aside your own voice necessarily as you adopt academic language and way of thinking, the mindset of academia. So I encourage you to play with the templates and see which ones you like, and then use the ones that you like, and then, you know, let your own voice shine through regardless, but as you adopt new ways of speaking in academia. Specifically with They Say, I Say. So again, you're going to look at the Prezi, you're going to take notes, you're going to write 2 paragraphs in your journal and post them to the discussion. Here is your prompt. So paragraph 1 is formal and academic and written to a politician. So you're writing 2 paragraphs, one's formal and one's informal. Is Trump an effective leader of the United States? This is formal, written to a politician. The second paragraph is where a lot of people might have some fun. I mean, you could have fun with either, to be honest, but it's informal and casual and written to a friend of yours. Is Trump an effective leader of the United States? Remember, your audience is different and your tone is different. One's formal, one's informal. So you're going to post your 2 paragraphs after you write them in your journal. You're gonna post them online here, and then you're going to read and respond to someone else's paragraphs in a paragraph or 2. So you're gonna tell them which of their paragraphs is more interesting, more effective, more well written, and you're going to explain. You're going to justify that. So I know this could stir us up a little bit, get us thinking a little bit, but remember, we're practicing the moves of They Say, I Say, and really being thoughtful with how we communicate in writing. If you don't like someone, it's not very effective to write, you know, I hate this person. So what? I hate that person too. Actually, I really don't. But the point is, saying that you hate someone or you don't like something, it's not enough in academia. We want to know why. We want you to explain the causes and effects for this whole reason behind your feelings. And then hopefully you'll get to the point where you can take the feeling out and you can talk about the causes and effects without the layering of emotion, because sometimes it gets in the way of our writing. Sometimes it's awesome, sometimes it works if we do it well, but sometimes it can get in the way. So again, that's what's happening. Week 14, let me go back to the home page to make sure I've covered everything. That is what's happening. We're keeping the research essay workshop open, so that way you can explore more and give each other more feedback on your research papers. Again, don't forget, in your research paper, your task is to set the conversation up in that first couple paragraphs. You can take 2 or 3 paragraphs for your introduction to set up a conversation on gun control. And that means you can offer a narrative about a shooting before you go into setting up the conversation with one of those They Say, I Say templates. You can take your time setting up a conversation in a long research paper because it's worth it. It becomes the roadmap for your reader. So slow down, breathe, and proceed. So one of the strategies I've been working with my VO2 students and my VO1A students, you guys